everyone, in this video we're going to be checking out a long shot that I recently finished that features an Xplorer grip and an Orange ModWorks Immortal kit. So let's start with everything on the outside and work our way in. So the paint job on this long shot is just a simple green and black two-toned paint job, nothing too complicated. I put some black dots where the fake bolts are in the green to kind of separate it out just a little bit so it's not just entirely green. I also painted the Xplorer grips bars a nice black to kind of go with everything because I think the silver would have popped out way too much and just would have been out of place. So the paint job is super simple. There's really not much to talk about with it, but I think it turned out very nice. The only other real thing I did to the long shot externally was I cut off the area that juts out right here and I left this little nub, but I've never liked the piece that sticks out there. I think it kind of disrupts the flow and the linear look of the long shot, so I cut that off and I used polycarb to cover that area. I'm very happy I did that. I think it makes the long shot look much better and you don't have this weird piece just kind of jutting out. Besides that, you may have noticed the silver trigger and this little bar sticking out right there, so let's dive into the internals and I'll explain everything I did. Starting with the trigger, this thing is running off an Orange ModWorks Immortal kit with a 5 kilogram spring in it. Why a 5 kilogram spring and not some beastly spring combo inside this thing? When I do a build that shoots mainly elite darts, I always build it more geared towards HVZ because in Humans vs. Zombies you need both power and accuracy to do well, and while I could put a huge beastly spring combo into this, I think 5 kg is doing very nicely in that it's very light, it's easy to prime so anyone can use it. You could loan it out to practically anyone and they'd be able to use it, but it also has power behind it and it has a good amount of accuracy. At 8 kilograms, I would feel the darts would start curving way too much to kind of justify it. So while 5 kilograms is pretty weak, it does very well in terms of HVZ, and you can always change the spring load to whatever you want later down the road. So while this thing does run on an Immortal kit, I had to go in and modify the dart chamber of the Immortal kit a little bit. If you've ever used one, you will know that on the push forward action of the prime, it's very stiff, very uncomfortable, and your darts will jam and they will bend and it's awful. So I went in with a 1/2-inch drill bit, I reamed it out a little bit, and then I went in with a 17/32 drill bit and made the opening just a little bit bigger so that the darts are loading so much more easily into this thing. It's very fluid, there's no stiffness, and I have not had a jam yet even at very high rate of fire. So while you are losing a bit of power from this thing, I'd prefer this to actually work very well and be super reliable over getting really, really high range and just jamming and being a pain to use. Sacrificing power, but the reliability and the performance upgrade for this thing is so worth it. So I think that was a really good trade-off. Next to the middle trigger, we have this little rod right here, and that is an ambidextrous clip release. So instead of relying on this slick little piece of plastic on the right side, you have a very easy to access little bar that drops your clips out so smoothly and so easily, and lefties can also access it very nicely as well. So it's ambidextrous, it's very smooth, and you never have to worry about your clips coming out even though it drops them like butter. So I absolutely love it. Thank you, Nam, for showing this to me. It's such a great kind of addition to a long shot, and I think it should be standard on like every single build. That's how much I love it, so definitely worth doing to your long shot. Other than lubing up the internals so everything works very smoothly, no paint scratching, no gunking, nothing like that, even the jam doors lube, I added a PVC stock block, so you can add really high spring loads and you won't have the stock collapse. And I've never actually seen anyone use a long shot with the stock collapsed up, so I really see no point in not putting a stock block in your builds. Now that I've covered everything that's going on with this long shot, let's put it through the chronograph and see how well it's doing. As you can see, this long shot is shooting very nicely, especially for one that only has a 5 kilogram spring load, which is insanely light. and for one that has an Immortal kit that I have basically made to sacrifice power over reliability. So you are losing a little bit of power with this thing, but it performs so solidly, I would do it again and again with every Immortal kit that I get. So I am very happy with how this turned out. The paint is very nice. This is probably my best paint job to date. I think it looks fantastic, and it has the performance to back itself up. So I am very, very happy with this overall. If you are interested in purchasing it, it is in my web store, link in the description. But for now, I hope you guys enjoy this Longshot as much as I do, and have a great day wherever you are.